Malik, congrats on the win. If you can you take us through that final sequence when you were just trying to get your shot over Wicks?
Yeah, like you just said, man, I was just searching for a little space. I hit him with a little in and out. He bit for it, and that gave me the space to get the little floater up. Glass, I guess. Go to the bank, man.
Yep.
No, we was just trying to get them scrambling, and whoever got the ball, we faithful, and we know whoever gets it, we don't care who shoots. So it was just to make them scramble.
Malik, we heard De'Aaron say while he was lighting the beam that so many people were focused on the point differential, but you guys were focused on the win.
Yeah.
Just how big is that to get a win against a team that sort of had their thumb on top of your head for a couple of games there?
Yeah, man, it feels good. Can't really celebrate too much. We got a game tomorrow, but it was great to get that one. To cut it to 2-1. Go back to their place. We got to get one from them when we get there, though. But it's great. It feels great to get that win.
Malik, a couple of guys stepped up, but Sasha came in really in that second half, fourth quarter especially, and had some big minutes for you. I'm just curious what you've seen out of him and to step up like that.
Yeah, he's been a pro for a long time, man. So I was never worried about him not playing, then starts playing, then not playing again. So he's been doing this his whole life, and especially knocking shots down. But he stepped up big on the defensive end, too, for us. So it was great for him, but I wasn't surprised.
Malik, Kendra Andrews, ESPN, a two-part question for you. The first part, you guys were down 24. Just what was the conversation between you guys? What brought you back from that deficit?
We didn't give up that many threes in the second half. I think they hit 5 threes in the second half, but they hit 12 in the first, and that was a big part of it. And then we just slowed Steph and Clay down, and that's be the main goal. Try to let the other guys beat us, but we was able to get some stops at the end and get the win.
The second part of my question, in the fourth quarter, about 3 minutes in, when Draymond got his tech, then he fouled, they pulled him. It felt like at least a big momentum shift. Do you see that as when you guys were
exactly.
able to?
Yep. Yeah, it definitely was the momentum we needed from them slipping up right there. But yeah, Mike been telling us to stay with it the whole game, and something's gonna happen. Make the refs make a call, and we just stuck with the game plan.
Malik, just how much do you enjoy having a moment like that to not only against the Warriors, the 24-point deficit, but to have that kind of game winner that way in-season tournament, just that moment? How much do you just love that moment?
I just love playing basketball, man. So anytime I can step on the court, I'm always happy. But doing that in the in-season tournament, the first one, it's just great. It brings a lot more energy in this building, and I think they're going to continue to be loud for us.
Malik, in the rankings of the game-winning shots you've had in your career, what does this one rank?
I wouldn't really – that's a go-ahead bucket, so I wouldn't count. I only got one game winner. I think that was against Detroit when I was in Charlotte, so that one.
Malik, you said glass earlier, but just curious, did you call game when you hit that shot?
No, I didn't actually, but game, though.
Since Trey has come back, he's given you guys some good energy, especially without Keegan out there. Just what does it mean to have him out there, both when it comes to just his energy and his on-court production?
Yeah, man, he's a vet. He's been playing the game for a long time. He knows what's going on out there. He knows what spots to put us in, whether it's his voice or him doing something on the court. He always helps us out, but it's great to have him back, a big piece.
Malik, to be down by 24, I'm sorry, Tristan, go ahead. To be down by 24 in this game against this team, given the history, I don't know, what are the emotions? What does it mean to the group to be able to come back, win this game in the fashion that you did?
Yeah, like I said before, man, it's great to get one back from these guys because they was up 2-0 on us. It's always to get a win. It's always great to get a win in the NBA, man. It's hard to do it, especially with a defending champ team. So, yeah, it's just great to get the win, man. I can't really dwell too much on it. We got a game tomorrow, so I got to start thinking about that.
Malik, you're often regarded as the guy that provides an energy off the bench for the Kings, and it seems like when you get going, it's pretty contagious on the court. How much pride do you take in that, being that guy for the Kings?
Like I said, I mean, I love playing basketball, so I just take pride going out there, knowing it might be my last time playing. So can't take anything for granted. So, yeah, that's all I do, put heart into it and go out there and give it all my all.
Malik, you mentioned Trey, and I saw he pulled you aside with about 50 seconds left. What do you say to you?
He told me, stop bullshitting. Yeah, I missed the box out with I think it was Wiggs. Yeah, then he told me I got locked in.
Malik, was there aside from the actual stuff that maybe the coaches talked about that they need to change in the game when it came to specific details, was there a motivational speech at halftime and what was said in the locker room to really just change the momentum for you guys in the second half?
I wouldn't really say it's a motivational speech. It's just Mike being Mike and telling us what we need to do a little better. And yeah, we just picked up the pressure and it worked for us.
Malik, 8 minutes for you in the first half. Was Mike on you about something? Was there something he wasn't happy with and something to your second half performance?
That ain't my job, man. I don't know. I don't be worried about that. If I get too worried about that, I can't play. I can't go out there and perform like I did. So I just let Mike do what he do. I don't question him. I've been playing ball for 7 years, so I've been through it, up and down. So I'm used to it.
Thanks, everyone.
Yeah, appreciate y'all.
Just hold.
De'Aaron, just how big was that for you guys to somehow find a way to get through the Warriors and advance, especially with the way the Warriors have beat up on you guys early in the season?
Oh, I mean, just us being resilient. Obviously, we were down, 20 points, and just being able to fight back and finish that game off was definitely good for us. I mean, you want to continue to win as many games as you possibly can, obviously, and that's another one that we were able to squeeze out.
De'Aaron, I know you've talked about your supporting cast before, but for Malik to step up, for Sasha to have the big fourth quarter and second half that he did, just how much pride does that give you as the leader of this team?
That's huge, man. Obviously, with the way that we play, the ball moving, and or if I get a matchup that I like and I get downhill, just trying to create an advantage somewhere, and then a lot of guys are playing off of closeouts, and it's big for us obviously when they're making shots, but also just being able to get downhill and also make another play, and just trying to generate a little bit easier offense for us. And I think they did a hell of a job. Obviously, Sasha hadn't been in the rotation for a few games, and he came out. He was big for us defensively, and I think he had an all-around really good game for us tonight.
As a team, what did you see from you guys defensively in that first half, and where did you feel like you guys got better as the game went on?
Definitely guarding the three-point line. I mean, I think they hit 12 threes on. I'm not sure what the efficiency was, but I would assume it was good in the first half. And then second half, we were able to fly around. Obviously, at times you have to, blitz the ball screen with Steph, and then you're playing 3-on-4 on the back. 3-on-4 on the back end, and you have to try to make something happen defensively. And I think with our activity tonight, especially in the second half, I think was definitely good for us, and that allowed us to get back in the game.
I heard you mention it out there in the arena that you guys wanted the win, obviously, but how weird would that have been to lose that game in advance? I know now you'll never know, but that was obviously something that didn't sit well with you guys, right?
Oh, yeah. But I mean, when you're in other positions, like you're in college or something, you could lose the last game and still end up advancing in something. AAU, obviously, if it's not bracket play, if it's pool play, and you lose your last game, there's still a possibility you can advance. So it's not something that's out of the ordinary, especially for most people who grew up in America playing AAU and those things. So, no, it's not. It wasn't like different or anything.
De'Aaron, Kendra Andrews, ESPN. What did the Warriors do differently in covering you in that second half? You got going a lot more offensively in the final two quarters.
I mean, they did the same things. I think I was able to get downhill a little easier. Obviously, that team switches a lot. Then at times, they throw out junk defenses, box and ones, traps here and there. But for me, it was really just try to get downhill. Obviously, I wouldn't even say this was a good game offensively for me, especially with the way I shot free throws. But we got it done, and my teammates definitely went out there and made plays down the stretch.
De'Aaron, would you call this a signature win?
I wouldn't. But, I mean, we played them so many times, people would call it that. But it's 1 out of 82 for us.
And then what was said when you're down 24 and things were just not going your way?
I mean, just stay the course. This league is a game of runs. You can be up 20, you could be down 20 in the blink of an eye, and whenever you're down, I think we got to 24, you try to get it to 15, then you try to get it to 10, and that's the way you have to think about it. Because if you're able to go on those runs, you go from 24 to 17, they call a timeout. You go from 17 to 10, they probably call another timeout. So it's always a game of runs. You just try to win as many segments as you can throughout the game.
Fox, I know you guys want to win every single game regardless of the opponent, but for a game of this magnitude to have so much on the line in November, I don't know how much that means to you, but for the fan base and for the NBA, it seems to mean a big deal. I'm just curious your thoughts on having this meaningful of a game this early in the season.
Yeah, I think the in-season tournament has done – I feel like it's done great. I feel like it's done wonders. You feel like you're playing significant games whenever there's an in-season tournament games, and obviously they were trying to win by a certain amount of points so that they could advance as well. So I think it's done nothing but good things. Obviously, we want to get to Vegas and be able to be one of those first teams to advance to a Final Four of the in-season tournament. So I'm extremely interested to see how that would play out. But obviously, we have a game tomorrow, and then I think we play New Orleans on Friday. I don't know when the game is. Tuesday, next Monday. How many games we got between that? I don't even know. I have no idea. But no, I'm very interested to see how this works out. And obviously, we want to continue to advance. But we have a game tomorrow, and when that day comes, we'll start thinking about it.
De'Aaron, the game was kind of shifting already, momentum, and then Draymond had the technical There was a late turnover there too. Like, did you guys kind of need that? Was that a factor in helping you guys turn the tide?
Oh, well, when he got the technical, Malik made the free throw, so that was big for us in a 1-point game. But I think with the turnover, I would say it was to what we were doing defensively, trying to get the ball out of Steph's hand. Obviously, Draymond's a good playmaker for them, and he has been for years. But regardless of who it is, even with somebody like CP on their team, you much rather the ball in somebody else's hands other than Steph. And we were able to create a turnover. And I think what we did down the stretch as far as deflections, block shots, getting some steals, and just being able to get out in transition, I think defensively we threw a lot at him. And at times it works, at times it doesn't. But, I mean, he's a hell of a player, one of the best players to ever play this game, and you have to do those type of things just to try to disrupt his rhythm.
And also, for everything you've done here, you don't get to light the beam that often. To have that moment, the crowd, everybody's, juiced. What was that moment like for you?
Oh, it's cool. I mean, with a game, like I said, with a game of this magnitude, of knowing that we were in a win and you're in, automatically. So we want to win. Obviously, our fans want us to beat Golden State. So a game this close, fighting, coming back from down 24 points. You don't want to, regardless of if this is a tournament game or not, you don't want to come back down from 20 and lose the game like that anyway. So that's definitely a resilient win for us, and I think it's big for the fan base for sure.
De'Aaron, we hear it over and over again about the spark and the energy that Malik provides off the bench. You've obviously played with him for a long time, dating back to college, but just how contagious is it when he gets going for you guys?
He's big for us. Rather than just putting the ball in the basket, we've seen what he can do in the pick and roll, playmaking with Domas or JaVale or whoever it may be. And just him getting downhill just creates so much for us. And when he's doing well defensively, getting blocks, being able to start our transition offense, I think it's hard to beat us when he's playing at a high level like he was tonight.
Fox, did you think that shot was going to go down? I mean, just take us through that final shot from your perspective.
I mean, it was an awkward shot. Like I said, I've seen him make crazy shots, like going back to high school. So I don't want to say surprised, but that was a crazy shot that went in for sure. But with the game that he was having, I think that he probably he would tell you that he felt a little confident in that shot. He probably already told y'all that. So it went in. We won the game. That's all that matters.
Were you disappointed with your own performance tonight? And if so, how does that fuel you?
Oh, I mean, I'm disappointed with the way I shot the ball, but I mean, I had 2 turnovers. I think I'm averaging 2 turnovers, so that's a career low for me. I think you said I had 5 deflections. I rebounded the ball well. I tried to affect the game in other ways, even though I think every miss that I probably had tonight was short. So I would say offensively it wasn't my best game, but I was out there for 40 minutes, and I feel like my imprint was still in the game. So I'm not super disappointed in it, but obviously anybody in my position will want to shoot the ball better.
Man, what a game. Tell you what, tale of two halves, and I give our guys a lot of credit. They showed a lot of mental toughness and physical toughness, especially in that second half. The Warriors did a great job shooting the ball from the three-point line in the first half, obviously. They had 12 threes in the first half, 5 in the second half, which was big for us. We needed them to make to not make as many threes as they made in the first half. Otherwise, we'd be in trouble. So our defense around the three-point line dramatically improved in that second half. We were flying around. We were just communicating and trying to figure it out because they're so talented and they move. They don't have a ton of play calls, and they just move off of instinct and pass the ball off of instinct. And so we have to talk our defense through a lot. I told our guys we were down 0-2 against this team, and not necessarily for the end-season tournament, but just for playoff seeding. I said we need to claw our way back and try to see if we can even this thing out so that come playoff seeding time, they don't have the head-to-head against us. And so this was the first step, and it'd be great the next time that we meet them to see if we could try to even the series out, with these guys. We always talk about being ready, staying ready. And I felt like we had two guys that came off the bench and were big for us. The first one was Keon. Keon came off the bench. He had a big three for us when we were struggling a little bit. And then, he gave Steph a different look. You're not stopping Steph Curry. You just want to make him work. And, you look at the stat sheet, and he's 8 for 20. You live with 8 for 20 when you're talking about a Hall of Famer in Steph Curry. You live with that every night of the week, and you hope you can get a win while living with that. And Keon had a couple of minutes defending him. So great job by Keon staying ready. And then obviously Sasha. Sasha, Keon was out because he was injured. Sasha was out because he had been out of the rotation a little bit. And he came off the bench and he hit 2 big threes for us. Hit 2 big threes, but just as importantly, I thought he had some big rebounds, and he had a big block, maybe even 2 blocks. But defensively, he impacted the game at a very, very high level. And then, just being out on the floor, you got to guard him. If you play off him, he's going to make you pay. So those 2 guys stayed ready, and they went out there and they impacted the game at a very, very high level. But this was about our second half defense. Our second half defense was very good. Against the Warriors, they scored 51 points in a half. Not only did they score 51 points in a half, they had 20 turnovers. We needed every single point of the 26 points that we had off their turnovers, obviously, to get this game. And, obviously a lot of it had to do because we didn't shoot the ball well from the free throw line. But to say you walked away from the second half with those guys scoring 51 points is huge. And then down the stretch, we didn't want to call a timeout. We knew they didn't have any. We didn't want them to be able to go offense, defense with their group, and so we just kept playing the game. And our guys, they had 2 big hits on Steph down the stretch, and it was just basically us yelling from the sideline, "Go hit, go hit, go hit!" And our guys executed the hits very, very well. Obviously, one, Malik hits a big 3 for us, and then the second one kind of sped him up a little bit, and Draymond ended up turning the ball over when he threw it out of bounds, which led to the game winner from Malik. So I take my hat off to our team defense in the second half. A lot of different guys stepped up and played the way that we needed to play in order to squeak out a win versus a very good team. But I would, I got to mention that De'Aaron Fox. What a game. And I say what a game from the standpoint that not only are we asking him to score, okay, we're asking him to score, push the pace, get guys involved, make plays for yourself and for others. We're asking him to do that at a high level. But if you want the definition of a two-way player, you look at that second half tonight. And he went from guarding Klay Thompson to Steph Curry, back to Klay Thompson to Steph Curry, guarded Draymond a little bit. I mean, he was all over the place defensively. That's the definition of a two-way player. Put him in Webster's.
Hey, Mike. But before the game, you talked about, or you were asked about the mental hurdle of beating these guys, and Malik was in here, and he said when Draymond got the tech, that's when you guys saw that opportunity to really strike. But how did you see your team keep their composure from being down 24, chipping away? You went on a 7-0 run to close the first half, then you chip a little bit more in the third quarter, and then just really being able to strike when the opportunity presented itself?
It's a long game. And at the beginning of the game, they were hitting threes, but even I kind of found myself just kind of sitting back and letting the game try to unfold. Obviously, to get down 22 or 24, whatever we did, I didn't expect that, and I wasn't hoping for that, but it happened. And when it happened at a point in the game where it was still early. And, you know, we've been through a lot. This group has been through a lot. They've been through a lot of adversity, and they've always seemed to find a way to just to persevere, or to figure it out at the end of the day. And our group did that. Nobody panicked. We just kept trying to find ways. We talked about what we were doing wrong in the timeouts. We were starting to get a little carried away as a staff at the officials, and Malik came over and scolded all of us coaches. He said, hey, leave the officials alone. You guys need to be quiet. And I'm glad he did. You know, we all got to be held accountable. That was probably the only thing that got a little testy is when Malik told us to shut up, and we were kind of looking at each other. Did he just do that? Yeah, he just did that. Okay, maybe we should listen to him. And we did. And once we did that, in my opinion, that's when we took off. It was in the second half when he came over and said that. Yeah.
Mike, more on Malik.
From what? Okay. In what role in the Sacramento Kings? Oh, new role. Yeah. Hey, you know, it's part of the process. I even talked to him about this. I had the pleasure, fortune, whatever you want to call it, to be able to coach a guy that was pretty good over in Europe named Manu Ginobili. And he came over about the same age as Sasha, 26, 27 years old, and he had done a pretty good job in Europe. And he was starting for a pretty good team in Europe at the time. And when he came over, I think initially we tried to start him. It didn't work out. Then we moved him to the bench. And then he actually probably had a couple of DNPs before he just was a guy that came off the bench that first year. So he didn't crack the starting lineup for us in San Antonio for at least a year. And it's an adjustment not only for the player, but also for the coaching staff too, to figure out how you want to be able to utilize him as a player to help your team at the highest level. And so I just told Sasha, hey, you know how to play. I know you know how to play. You got a good feel for the game. You can shoot the ball. I said, there's not going to be a time that I'm going to tell you that you took a bad shot, because you can be one of the greatest shooters out there. You just got to let it fly. I said, and if you're playing, great. If you're not playing, you've been through tougher situations than this, so you got to keep your head in the game, and you got to stay ready. And when your number's called, I'm sure you'll produce, and that's what happened tonight.
Mike, going back to last season, Malik made a comment about this is always the player that he's been. It's just here in Sacramento he's been allowed to kind of express himself and play his style of basketball. I know you've talked about if he plays on the defensive end, you'll just let him go. But how important is the right environment for a player like Malik who can make so much happen?
I think not just for Malik, for a lot of players, you know, in the league, not just with our team, with other teams too. And sometimes if it's the right fit for a player, then the player can blossom. And when that player blossoms, it helps the team. And, I'm sure if you asked a handful of our guys, that, the way we try to play, especially when it's a style that caters to a lot of our players individually. Kevin's a prime example. In Atlanta, he was more of a space spot-up shooter. Here, we're able to utilize the velocity of his movement to help not just him but his teammates. And so, I've been in the league a long time, and one of the things that it took me a little bit, but one of the things that I've figured out is, you have to try to cater, especially offensively, cater your offense to your group of players. If you don't have a post-up player, you can't try to play through the post and try to score on the post, And Jay Triano and Luke Laux and the rest of the coaching staff do a fantastic job of trying to identify what our strengths are as individual players and make sure those fit into what we're trying to do with our team concepts on the offense end of the floor.
Mike, how did you view that last possession before Malik hit that shot? Just kind of take us through from your eyes.
Crazy. But the way this game was going, for me, I was okay with it because the more chaotic it was, it seemed to be in our favor because, our guys were finding ways to respond, and throughout the chaos, it was bringing them energy. And so I just, a couple of times, we could have called a timeout here. We could have called a timeout there. The only reason why I called a timeout is as soon as when Foxy attacked, he attacked with two pretty good defenders right there. And so I saw it, and I knew, hey, I got to be ready to call a timeout. And as soon as he went down, I started shouting it. Everybody on the bench did. And that's why we took that timeout. Otherwise, we'd let that thing just end when the buzzer or stop. The action stopped when the buzzer sounded. So it was chaotic. Our guys did a fantastic job of trying to play for each other during that chaos offensively, and then even defensively too. We had that hit. Malik read the hit. He came up and took and stole the ball, and knocked down the three. So I give our guys a lot of credit for finding a way to play through that chaos.
Mike, 8 minutes for Malik in the first half, and I think he finished with almost 26. Was there something going on in the first half? Was he in the doghouse a little bit or feeling something?
He wasn't in the doghouse. I just thought, and you can ask him this. This is just my opinion. I thought he lost Clay a couple of times, and so I felt like I needed to make a change, and so I made a change. And when I made a change, I tried to play Keon, I think, and a couple other guys, and so just didn't give him an opportunity to get back out on the floor.
And I asked you before the game about psychological advantages, barriers, whatever you want to call it. And whether you buy into any of that or not, how good is it to beat this team in this fashion, come back, win a big game? What does it do for you and for the group?
Well, the first thing is, again, I don't really buy into it. Maybe we might even won the series last year against the Warriors. I don't remember. And then they beat us in the playoffs. And I addressed this to my team 2 days ago. I told my team, I said, in 2005, we lost the regular season series 1-3 to the Wizards, and we beat them in 6 games in the playoffs. And so I said, the regular season, it's great for certain things. I said, but I don't buy into the fact if they win tomorrow, we're down 0-3, and they win the next game, we're down 0-4, or even if we win the next 2 games, I don't think it's going to have a huge impact come playoff time. The best team is going to win. 99.9999% of the time, in my opinion, the best team is going to win a playoff series, a 7-game playoff series especially. And so I told them, more importantly, it's the in-season tournament. Let's go get a win because of that. And on top of that, we're thinking about playoff seeding. And so, we're down to three teams right now. We're down to Golden State, we're down to Houston, and we're down to New Orleans. And so we don't want to lose that head-to-head, because at the end of the day, they could have an advantage come playoff time. So in my opinion, those two reasons were more important to go get the win, and plus we want to win, than just a psychological advantage right now that I don't think really will carry over come playoff time. But you would have to ask each individual guys. This is what I told my team.
Coach, the shooting guard position, you've in the past, tried different things out with moving Kevin Huerter to the bench and things like that, but Malik has never really cracked into the starting lineup. How important is it to keep him with that second unit?
I'm a firm believer. It's not about who starts the game, it's who finishes the game. And Malik gives us a huge punch off the bench, huge punch. And he gives us as a staff a lot of versatility. We can play a lot of different lineups with him coming off the bench. And then at the end of the day, like I said, if we want to end the game with him on the floor, we can. If we want to end it with somebody else, we can as well. So, I said it last year, sixth man of the year, it's always, last year was a no-brainer. Should have gone to Malik. Obviously, he's, in my opinion, the leading candidate for it again this year. And hopefully people will recognize, because we're on national TV a couple more times this year, but people will recognize how valuable he is for us coming off the bench.
Yesterday in practice, you mentioned that you still think that your defense has room to improve after tonight. Do you think this team is capable of being a top 10 defense?
I think we're capable of anything if we put our mind to it. I challenge our guys to see if we can, for sure I think we should finish top 15. I challenge our guys to see if we can get in the top 10. Last year we were 25th, 26th, 27th, something like that. And so to take the jump to where we are right now, I applaud our guys. That means they're doing something right. But at the end of the day, I truly believe you got to defend at a high level if you want to get to where we expect to get to come playoff time. Thanks, everyone. Thank you, guys. Thanks, Kendra. What's up?